All right, honk those horns, bitches.
All right, it's the rundown, KMS Rundown. It is July 30th, Thursday, the week of reacting to the Sacco shows, and then Kirk's announcement on Monday. Before we get into the Sacco shows and what we liked and didn't like and all the highlights from that awesome weekend, just reaction to Kirk's announcement on Monday, having him go away again with suicidal thoughts, depression. This world is, for me, an escape from a lot of mental health issues. And I think it is for a lot of people, meeting people in Sacco. There's a lot of fans that are dealing with stuff, and it is, seeing Kirk's reaction, the reaction to Kirk and having that go on. It's going to be tough, but hoping that, he takes the time that he needs, all the time that he needs, and comes back when he can, and we will still be here. And so, Sheldon, kicking it to you first, just kind of as somebody who was not at Sacco shows, but then also hearing Kirk's reaction, seeing Kirk's reaction on Monday. How are you dealing with it? How are you handling it? What are your thoughts?
It was surprising, the announcement that he was taken off. You could kind of tell the last couple of weeks that he didn't really seem his complete self, and as a guy who deals with that kind of stuff too, I got my really big highs and really big lows. I could kind of understand it, and I just want him to go away as long as he needs and gets better. Like I said before, we're not going anywhere. I mean, we're all here because we love him and love the show. I mean, it's sad, but it's also good at the same time because he recognized it and he's going to get the help that he needs. So that's all we can really do is pray for him and give him all the support that he needs in this time.
Absolutely.
So,
VD, what do you got?
Yeah, I agree with pretty much everything Sheldon said. I think, like a lot of people, my first reaction was like a little bit of fear just because of the timing of it all. I think Jerry summed it up pretty well on his show. He even talked about he spoke to Kirk on Sunday and everything sounded great. So it was like a little bit of shock in that sense to get the news, as it always is, but particularly in that timing. But once that kind of initial fear and shock wore off, I agree with Sheldon. Like my resounding feeling is kind of hopeful, because he is doing what you're supposed to do. He's talking about it. He's getting the help, and there's no rush. We'll all still be here, obviously, and just hoping for Kirk.
Yeah, it is going to be tough not having him every day. Having that, especially not having him now when quarantine, the quarantine is still going on and COVID is still an issue. Having those guys these last few months going through this has been huge for a lot of people going through stuff. So not having them around is going to be really, really difficult. Ziggy, you're somebody who's been listening to Kirk since the EEI days. You've seen this before when he went away in the summer at EEI, and then he wasn't able to come back, and now twice now here on his podcast. Monday, news drops. What are your initial thoughts?
So I wasn't sure how I would be like vocalizing my thoughts. So if it's okay with you guys, I thought I'd sing a rendition of Bruce Springsteen's "Wreck on the Highway."
Yeah.
So I'm not going to do that. But my first reaction was just like sadness, overall sadness, specifically for Kirk and his family, because it's got to just be like another reminder that this is something he's going to be dealing with the rest of his life. Depression is a cruel disease, and there's so much we don't know about it, or we know about it, we know how to treat it, but it doesn't work for everyone. It's just a nightmare to live with. All we can really do is let Kirk know that we support him, lift him up in prayers if that's something you're into. But from my perspective, I think the Minifans did a good job of like sharing their support, and there were really 3 tweets that stuck out to me. The first one was Gig. He made a pretty powerful image of Kirk with his arms stretched out. I think it was from the Vigil, but then in the silhouette, it shows him like clutching his knees, which I think it's great to have fans like show their show their feelings and show their support in their own creative ways. The second one was Sheldon, who it looks like we lost for Wi-Fi issues, but Sheldon's video of him like driving on the tractor, listening to Thunder Road, that was pretty moving. And then the third one was Steve from Providence. No less than 7 minutes after Kirk's tweet responded, "Yes, Blind Mike, your stand-up was that bad." So I think that kind of encapsulated yes, we can still, yes, we are supporting Kirk. We still have our humor. I was wondering who would kind of be the first one to break the ice and make the joke. So I'm glad that Steve was the one to do that.
Yeah, I'm happy that Steve was the guy to do it. I know, John, you've talked about this a little bit. Seeing the reaction shows and everything else this week. What do you think? What's your plan, or what should we be doing right now to help the community? Add to the shows, add to the YouTube network. What else can we do?
Dude, man? I think you kind of just have to do something. Like, do something, even if it's just like be more active in Twitter. Like, do something, like help out. Look at where you could help out. Like Blind Mike's doing that walk. Like, dude, there's Minifans don't like go away. It's not like we could put Minifans on pause. So like, right. there's if you want to do a YouTube show, I know Adam said tweet to him, but Adam sending all that stuff up and everything. So they want the YouTube content. I know when I talked to Steve on the phone, Steve texted me and said like, we want to help promote the YouTube. So even people who have YouTube shows, like if you think of clips, send them to Steve. There's content out there. We'll provide, like Gig is doing his show still. Everybody's still doing their shows. It just sucks. We can't, for shows like mine, like Intel and stuff, like we're reaction shows, especially this show. Like, it sucks, man. It sucks, but Kirk's got to do this. Like we have no choice. Like Kirk has to go get better. And if it takes till fucking 2200, like we'll still be there helping, making content, Right. So if we could watch something.
I'm excited. I'm excited for what people come up with and what they're doing on a weekly basis. So to talk about the Saco shows, Saturday in particular, I know John and I were fortunate enough to be at both. Ziggy, you were there Saturday.
Not a real fan, Red.
Not a real fan. Not a real fan. But Ziggy, you were there Saturday. So what were your initial impressions from not only the show, but also just the community and the people walking around, man? What was it like for you on Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, someone, I forget who it was. I listened to a lot of recaps this week. Someone said like the show was like the cherry on top. I'm kind of naturally a pretty antisocial person. So even like an hour before leaving, I had doubts like, oh, should I just stay home? Because it just kind of stresses me out to be around people I don't know. But once I got there, it hit me like, yeah, I actually do know a lot of these people.
Yeah.
So I mostly hung out with the, I don't know, maybe C/B list, B- list celebrities.
You weren't at the content? You weren't at the
No, I was.
Dude,
those are the.
That makes me feel like shit being me and Ziggy hung out. That'll make you feel like shit.
I mean, the worst part was the Tony and Gig, everyone coming up and being like, "Oh, hey, you got the best show on the YouTube." Like, yeah, guy, we get it. It's the best show on YouTube, better than it used to be. But
yeah, I'm sure Tony and Gig, that's. They do the stuff they do because of people like you guys.
Right. Yeah, I mean, everyone was great. I do have to say the funniest thing I saw like pre-show. So I'm in front of the quote unquote cool tents. I see intern Justin like walking down the aisle, and
shout out intern Justin, great job this weekend.
Yep, absolutely, MVP.
I grant you one neck roll, one bouncer neck roll.
So Justin's like strolling down, and I'm kind of standing in the aisle. So like, oh, I'll say hi, I'll introduce myself. So hey, Ziggy Robinson, whatever. So he doesn't really give me the time of day. He comes down, he turns around and walks where he came from. And I was like, all right, that was weird, whatever. So an hour later, Kirk's doing his rounds, Justin's the muscle, and it hit me. I think what Justin was doing was like recon work, like a Secret Service agent going out, scoping the area, looking for the problem areas, seeing where Red was so he could avoid them. That was like the funniest thing was just Justin taking it so seriously.
That serious look on his face, man. He was terrified walking around.
Even from a distance, just seeing pictures and looking at tweets and, hearing some Periscope from the show, like even I could tell from across the country that Justin was having a great day. So it was good to hear.
You could see him. I think you probably saw it, VD, during Mike and the Minifans on that Friday night where he had to escort the Led Zeppelin guy
Sleepy
out of the
Drew.
way. Yeah, Sleepy Drew.
Yep.
So, but when you see Justin move, he is moving that slow. Like he's
Hodor, bro.
slow
He's
and
Hodor.
smooth and smooth.
Yeah,
as
Gig was at the show making a gif like a fucking lord that he is. He was literally sitting there gifing memeing while he was there. I was like, I genuflected in front of him, and he was like, I think he was he was trying to figure out something because it was when Kirk was mentioning how good Justin did, what to make the gif out of, and I was like, dude, Hodor with the basket on is perfect.
Yep.
It's a perfect
Hodor.
Hodor.
Dude, I saw him, and I said this on my show, but I saw him holding one of those tiny Coke cans, and Will was standing there, right? So I saw him holding one of those tiny Coke cans in his hand, and I was like,
Giant.
I was like, he's a giant. Like, no, he did a great job. I'm proud of the little bugger he is.
I went up to him and I asked him a couple times on Saturday because it was hot.
Does he like you or hate you?
I think he's good with me. Like, he was totally nice to me. I offered him water and
Yeah.
Gatorade a couple of times during the weekend. Like, he's a totally chill dude, and he seems really friendly. But I could see, him getting the Ziggy introduction and kind of being like, I don't trust this guy. This is a squirrely character.
Yeah, especially because he's a dog that talks.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. That was
pretty fucking weird the first time you see it,
Right?
especially when you're a giant.
And you're a tough guy on Steve, so that's where Justin's loyalty is, as it should be.
Yeah,
As it should
that
be.
also makes it difficult.
as it should be.
Yeah.
He's
So
like a fucking samurai. Justin's like a samurai, dude.
the Saturday, I loved everything about both nights. Saturday was wild, man. It was a hell of a scene. People were ramped up and ready.
Saturday was a party.
What does it sound like, Visionless Dave? Like, when you were listening to Saturday, you said you listened to Saturday's show. Like, does it come through for you? Like, it's interesting for me. I've seen the show, then I listened to the show, being there. I wonder what it's like for you as somebody who was not there. Are you picking up on the sounds of the crowd going nuts and the scene that it is? What do you listen when you're listening to it? What is that like for you?
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of the car horns, and on the bootleg periscopes I was watching live, like, you could hear the immediate surrounding people, so a car full of laughter. But honestly, even when I listen to not live shows, like, I can tell when every other Minifan would be laughing, because I feel like we all kind of laugh at the same shit, whether it's like Kirk making an underhand comment about Blind Mike, or Steve saying something weird. It's like so it's not really that reliant on the live aspect, obviously, because it's a podcast, but it was nice to have a little bit of that in the shows, and I thought it came across decently through the audio feed. But obviously,
how bad is Mike's stand-up when you're hearing it for the first time?
The first night, painful. Like, I honestly, it made me uncomfortable. I had to get up and, like, go outside and smoke a cigarette and, like, walk my dog because I was that uncomfortable.
I think it ruined the whole show for Carm. Like, my girlfriend, it ruined the show for Carm because she felt so bad. My girlfriend screamed like a joke for him to say immediately. She was like, "Dude, Mike, say it like with the fake noodle."
Right.
Come on, dude. Like, give him.
Best was Steve coming in, to grab something, and Steve just dropping a halfway decent political joke. And then
him walking in, that was a power move. Yeah, especially because no one knew what that joke was, and
I still don't really get it, to be honest,
out of spite. Like, it was
Ziggy, do you understand any of that joke? Do you get what he was trying to do or what he was saying?
So to be honest, no. I mean, yeah, I get the premise, but I don't. Either it didn't totally land, or I was missing some part about.
Right.
But anyway, so
the second night was worse.
I actually thought so. I listened to on a bootleg Periscope as well. Shout out, I think Terry.
Yeah, let's that.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a plug because I would pay easily $20-$30 for a pay-per-view if possible.
Yeah.
Or $100 for a ticket.
It was just a
Well, I couldn't have made it. I had other obligations. So
and you still listen to the podcast on Tuesday,
right.
so it's fine.
Yeah. You're good. You're fine, Ziggy.
And at the time I thought like it wasn't as strong of a show as Saturday, but then on the re-listen, I think like their banter and their riffing was better off. Like, Kirk told some stories that we hadn't heard, like about his friends from California, and he did like the Trenny impression. So you got a little bit out of Kirk that we didn't get on Saturday. So, so I think overall they were equal.
Yo, can I just say this right now? I keep saying Sunday was a better show just because everybody is saying Sunday was a better show. I think Saturday was a much better day and show.
Well,
So you're
Saturday.
I think it was like Kirk said Sunday was a better show. I honestly think.
Well, you have to say that to the crowd.
Yeah.
Right.
Why?
But I also
to the crowd. The crowd. Yeah.
Saturday was better.
Well, but I'm saying
Sunday
even after kind of the show, everybody's been saying the Sunday show is better, and I honestly do think Saturday. Now the videos were better Sunday.
Yes. Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yeah, I agree.
I thought they did a good job balancing them out and keeping them separate. There wasn't like
they had so many because even me, I had to make 2 videos for them. So they had a bunch of people just making videos for the Arsenal, basically. So if they had something to talk about, they kind of had a video for it.
Yeah.
So here's my thing. VD, I know you're a Steve guy, so you got to explain this to me. My one criticism of both nights is there's not a a journal reading from Steve Robinson. So if you could please defend your boy on that, I don't understand how that just never happened.
He's a good businessman. He wants to sell an ad first, and he's going to monetize it. Big Steve doesn't do anything for free.
What an answer.
Staples.
Spin team, baby. Spin team.
My view of Sacco from a distance was that Saturday night was like the cool kid jock high school party, and Sunday night was more like the band kid club party. Like they're both fun, but it seemed like 2 different atmospheres, but both equally great in their own respective ways.
Yeah, and the OGs were not there on Sunday, so that
Real
really bothered Mike right at the beginning there. He did mention that too.
So VD said earlier that the regular listeners, you kind of know when people are laughing. Like the Kirk jokes, everyone's going to be naturally laughing, and then the Steve jokes. So I was first watching from the stage. And I realized there was I could kind of hear Kirk, but then I could hear the speaker louder and there's the delay. So I was having trouble picking it up. And I'm one of those sports fans who, when I go to a game, I want to just focus on the game. And I get pretty mad at the people just socializing.
Around you. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a total hardo like that. So I just went to my car, rolled up I first had the windows down because it was hot, listened on the radio, sounded great. But the people next to me were laughing at every little Steve joke. Not the unintentional ones, the actual jokes. No. So I had to roll that window up. I just baked in there because it was totally ruining the whole experience for me.
Too much Steve love. Yeah,
you not have air conditioning or something, Ziggy?
I didn't. You weren't supposed to turn your car on, so I'm respectful. And I think my light is automatic.
You're not supposed to turn your car on. You keep it on ACC or whatever.
Well, no, but if you turn on your car, you got the lights.
Yeah, my headlights. I can't turn them off.
Yeah.
Exhaust.
Saturday night, I was during the show. We were going from the stage back forward. Sunday night, I just sat and listened to it.
I did the same thing on Sunday. Just hung at the tent. Saturday, I was not helpful to Mike at all. I wish I was yelling out a joke because all I did was yell out to Mike was dump him out. I just kept yelling, dump him out, and then eventually he did. He dumped him out, but I should have.
I was one of the few who clapped for his stand up. It's embarrassing. It was embarrassing. It was hard to do.
On my drive up, I was thinking okay, if I run into Kirk, Mike, or Steve, what's going to be my one-liner? And my one for Mike was, I was going to ask him, are you ready to do stand-up? So I had been thinking,
really, Zig? Mike, that would have been really cool.
Wow.
That would have made
being sarcastic. No, but my point is, how did I know? How did I have the foresight? And I think a lot of fans did because Kirk was hinting at it.
Because Mike has no sight. That's a low-hanging fruit joke.
Yeah. Right,
and this kind of transitions to what we're talking about next. But on Go for Geary, I don't know if you heard, but he was kind of discussing it and he didn't understand. A caller was making a point that he probably should have been prepared, and he didn't understand where they were coming for at all. He was like, well, I don't know, the Wilbur got canceled, and it was in hindsight it might be 2020, but he probably should have seen that coming, or even if he'd had nothing prepared, it still should have gone a little better than it did.
I think the direct quote on Saturday was from Mike, who would possibly be prepared for this? It doesn't make any sense.
Literally,
it doesn't make any sense. It literally means it makes the most sense in the world.
At all points in time, a stand-up comedian should have 5 minutes.
Yeah. His point was literally that
you should be tattooed. What, Mike? Dude, come on, say a fake joke then, man.
Yeah.
Don't thank the Minifans.
Oh, so
bro,
okay, so he has that on Saturday, and we go to Sunday show, and his long, winding setup of a joke that doesn't actually go anywhere. I don't know what. How did he not plan? How did he not know? I mean, he knew. I guess he knew, but I just don't understand.
I mean, he's got to know you need to start the set off with a quick joke to just get the crowd into it. Instead, he did the longest loop joke of all time, and then he didn't even remember the punchline.
He's got so much material. He's got the blind, the diabetes, Alba's size of her feet. I mean, you can do so many things that I don't understand how that happens. I don't get that. And then again, he's just like he's defensive about it, like somehow it should be expected. He's not ready for this.
Well,
so
I'll ask
who would be ready?
Which night was worse, Saturday or Sunday for Mike
Sunday.
Sando? I think Sunday might be.
Sunday was 10 times worse, bro.
because he tried.
He was supposed to be ready.
Yeah.
And then after that, they did the Nardini thing, and I thought he was really going to kill himself. And then they played the video where he killed himself.
That is, and I will say, you can't.
Today's show is really fucking bad for Mike, man.
You can't tell as the listener to the podcast when you're at the show on Saturday.
Oh, when they
on Sunday. And Kirk and Steve literally grab the plaque, run off the stage, and just go running down in between the cars. And the cars are all honking, and their lights are on, and everybody's flashing their lights.
And you wouldn't understand like the part after when Kirk is trying to talk like at the same time as Steve and getting the words wrong and stuff. That was so funny, dude.
Yeah, that was great.
He's like, "Fuck."
If I was Blind Mike in that situation the first night, Saturday, I think I either would have just like fake fainted, which would have got a laugh, or I would have just like fake storm off the stage and like, I don't know. I would have gone for fainting. Actually, that would have been pretty funny.
And he should have did that thing.
If he just fainted,
brains out.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people
he's better drunk than he is sober, I guess.
I always said that. I loved him at the Madawaska show.
It was funny that they played the Periscope on Sunday. That
was funny.
And I will say, you probably seen this, Ziggy. I don't know if you've gone through and tried to dig that up, but that is not on Mike's Twitter.
Oh, really?
Anymore. Yeah, so it is not there. So at some point he got rid of that clip.
Oh yeah.
So,
well, also,
that.
Ziggy, you were kind of telling me another thing from Sacco is, and I've been campaigning for it for a while, which is a Steve Kamen studio when everything gets back together. I heard he actually had some pretty funny mannerisms on stage, which I know Warden needs. We need to grow that GIF library of Steve.
Yeah, he's just the goofiest.
Yo, Warden having a GIF library of Steve was cool, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
that's been around a while. But yeah, at one point, Mike was talking about the Cheers podcast, and Steve did the like gun to your head, like mannerism. And it was just, I'm sure he does that like throughout every show. And we're just missing all these opportunities.
The shovel GIF. I bet you there's so many we've missed.
That's great.
Just very expressive face.
So we did get the reaction shows this week. Speaking of Mike, he had Go for Geary last night along with Menners. So we had Menners' show last night too, which Menners is going away for 6 weeks. So now we are without Kirk, and now we're without Menners. I don't know how I'm going to live my life without these two giants in the industry. And I use giant loosely for Menners, obviously.
He's short.
But Menners was bringing the heat last night. Mike did pretty well with the show too, his monologue, and I know some of us called in. And Mike tried to give us as many details as he could. He talked about how he couldn't notice anything, similar to what Callahan had said. He didn't notice anything off, and taking the time. And Mike's going to now do probably a couple shows a week. And I know VD. I mean, we've gone through this before. We've had this happen in February and March while Kirk was away. Mike was doing a couple of shows a week. What else does Mike need to be doing, man? Is there anything else he can be giving back to the community, offering it up? Do they go on the RSS feed? What are we doing here, man?
For me, I think the RSS feed is sacred, and like I wouldn't really touch that unless Kirk was directly ordering it. But like there's still plenty of room on the YouTube channel, honestly. I thought, the Go for Geary was pretty good. It was good to be able to call in. Good. His monologue was pretty solid. But I think, he even said it in the show, but I think he should be doing a show every day. Last time Kirk went away in March, I know when he came back, he buried Mike for like 10 minutes just for doing 3 YouTube shows a week while he was gone. And it looks like that's what we're getting week 1 from Mike. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say, week 2, maybe it'll pick up. I know he was asking for Minifans to kind of submit ideas into his DMs, which I encourage. But yeah, like I would just love to see content, every day, either from Mike or Steve or.
Well, okay, so I'm going to push back on you because you're a Steve guy. I noticed your going hard on Mike here, and you're not really putting Steve. I mean, what the hell is Steve doing right now? I don't understand what's going on.
Mike asked people to send him ideas for shows.
Yes.
Yes.
He did. So
It's a step in the right direction, John.
This goes into my guy Ziggy. I think he got drunk today. I don't know. Is he
gonna take them?
But,
what's he gonna do? Use them?
Don't worry about it, John. Don't worry about it. Segue.
Segue.
So Ziggy, you want Steve and Mike to do a show together on the RSS feed? You want more Steve and Mike time?
Should I open my mouth before you put the words in, or? My point was, so first off, WWKD, what would Kirk do? Kirk has said that he doesn't. Okay, John, shut up. Close your mouth. You're distracting me. Kirk has said that he doesn't care if in his absence, and he's talked about like if he's on vacation. But then the last time when he came back, he said, in my absence, like if you want to do a show and put on in the RSS feed, I don't care. Mike said yesterday it's just a business decision. I haven't gotten any good explanation of what goes into that business decision.
Ziggy, so, were you the one who tweeted out the does it affect? Well, who was that tweeted that out? Like, does it really hurt the business?
That was Ziggy.
That was Ziggy, right? That's a good tweet. That's a good tweet, but like the fact of the matter is, like, does it really matter if it's on the RSS?
Yeah, so
really?
I think it does because what percentage of lay down
of fans see it? Yeah, no, yeah, right.
What percentage of fans watch the YouTube? It's like 10 or 20%. So
YouTube, but like,
I know.
Yeah, okay.
So there's fans out there that only get their content from the RSS feed. Mm-hmm. So to me, to at least not have done. And I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, obviously. I think last time Steve and Mike did a quick 10-minute update on the RSS feed to let people know, like if you just get your content from here, we know all the fans are not on Twitter. They definitely don't all watch the YouTube. I think at least for the very least, give them content or drive them to the YouTube, do a PSA to say, here, we're putting all our content on the YouTube at the very least. But I just don't see the downside in doing it. I understand
audience number. Basically, they're worried about estimated audience number dropping, and the fact of the matter is, like, does that really matter to them? I think you're right. I don't think it does. But
it could easily be explainable. That was the point of my tweet. Like, if you're going to an advertiser and saying, okay, yeah, our numbers dropped, but they dropped for a very specific reason.
To advertisers, do
yeah, but I understand. I don't know. It might not even be a case of them not wanting to explain a drop to advertisers. It might just be that like they're waiting to hear from Kirk. So I wouldn't be surprised if on Monday we get, or sometime next week, if we get one of those little 10-20 minute updates. I think right now it's just like the situation was so crazy that they probably haven't even thought about it yet. It's like, okay,
that because Ziggy, like that made me really think. That's like when Kirk said, like, what do I care if I make money? Like, I'm
right. So there is part of that. Like,
I was like, well, really, does it matter? Like,
also though, you have to think,
because from Barstool's sake,
if Mike and Steve are going to do a show, like, I don't think they can do the format that they do with Kirk.
Yeah, and I wasn't asking them to do that.
You know,
that's where people.
They would have to have some kind of angle.
Well, so here comes two-face Ziggy coming in here and saying he didn't want something, but he did want something. You were advocating for Steve Robinson and Michael B. Geary to offer up a show to us for. What, 20 minutes, 30 minutes? What do you want these two hangers on? Hold on. What do you want these two hangers on to do here, Ziggy? What are they going to give us?
One hanger on.
Yeah, hangers on as you spelled HAGNAR.
Yeah, I did that. Don't worry about that. What are you going to do? Correct? What are you, Steve Robinson, correcting my spelling on a blog? Don't do that. So they're two hangers on. What are they going to like? So Steve's going to give you the bullet points from Tucker. Thank you. Congratulations. Appreciate that. Mike's gonna sweat and flounder around and talk about suicide again, the Jeff Foxworthy of suicide jokes,
or here's an idea.
The Gallagher of suicide jokes. What do you want this guy to do? I don't.
You try different things. You have them recap old episodes. You bring in people from Barstool and just I don't know. There's plenty of things they could try. I don't see the harm in trying something new. That's what I don't. I haven't heard a good explanation as to what the issue is.
Ziggy's stance is something is better than nothing, which I do understand.
This is true, and I would actually
I'd rather have a longer show than a shorter show. It's the same argument.
Yeah, I'm with you. And think about how many lies we could get from Steve Robinson if Kirk wasn't there. I mean,
true. It actually would be nice if Steve's going unchecked.
Yeah,
I mean, he doesn't lie. He doesn't lie. Actually, I retract that statement. I retract that statement.
Any lies last week, guys?
What'd you say?
Did you sniff out any lies last week?
Yeah, so he said that car alarm guy was not his car alarm. It was him honking, which, what is he like? The drunkest guy at the show has perfect rhythm like a human metronome. That's what I tweeted. Like, come on. There's just no reason to make up.
Why would he? I think he was just misinformed. I don't know why.
How was he misinformed? He's the one that knows everything. He's running it.
Well, then I believe he has, an angle he's playing, which has not been revealed.
He's
one step ahead.
He didn't kick out multiple people that were drunk after the Saturday show. It was one person, too. I will get that on the record that Steve is embellishing the number of people who were drunk after the show and sleeping in their car. So he also lied about that unnecessarily. Again, it's not the big lies that get you. It's the little stuff that Steve just embellishes for no reason at all. That's the
individual is the carrier of reality. So I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
That's a good quote. I like that.
That's my Carl Jung quote of the day.
So speaking of speaking of Steve Robinson and doing a show with Mike, Turtle Boy was very active on Callahan's podcast today. And Callahan's been very active talking about Kirk this week. I think he did a great job on Monday, on Tuesday.
Yeah, he wants that
it's a great business decision for him to actually talk about it and talk about it up front at the top of the show. I think the last time this happened with Kirk, he talked about Kirk like the last 3 minutes of his show that he did after that. So he's putting it up front. He knows that there's a lot of mini fans that are listening to him, which is
why can he not say mini fans?
I don't understand. I don't get it.
Doing it on purpose.
He's doing it on purpose. No, he didn't do it on purpose. Brandy Love. Yeah, that was embarrassing. How didn't you scrap that video? I would have scrapped that video immediately.
Mini fans, Kirk Menahan.
It's a bad look.
Yeah, mini hand.
It's a bad look. I would have scrapped that video so fast.
So we're listening to Turtle Boy. Turtle Boy is going off about how he would be on the show, and he would be, if he was a contributor, he would be on the show, and he would love for Steve Robinson and Blind Mike to do a show together. So it sounds like Ziggy and Turtle Boy are in lockstep there.
Ziggy walked that take back real quick. He walked that take back real quick when he heard that.
But putting that all aside, Turtle Boy doing a comedy podcast with Steve Robinson and Blind Mike sounds like where comedy goes to die.
Turtle Boy's a fucking drip, dude.
So VD, you sounded pretty heated about this. What do you got on Turtle Boy?
VD, before you go off. So you sent us VD sent a timestamp to the group chat today saying at the 110 mark, Turtle Boy and Jerry talk about Kirk.
Well, that was a Joe Henney timestamp. That was
I go to the 110 mark to the 110 mark.
Timestamp.
And there's 4 minutes. There's 4 minutes of them doing Blue Lives Matter strawman arguments. So thank you for letting me.
That's on Joe Henney. That's on Joe Henney.
Like, I'd be honest. A lot of people say like I'm on like I'm everywhere and I'm never like blah blah blah. Yo, these two motherfuckers see everything. Visionless Dave, which makes no sense, and Ziggy Robinson, who is a dog, see everything. Dude. Nothing gets by these two.
Having sources too.
You and your
fearless, I mean, your faceless co-host are fucking seeing everything, dude. You guys don't miss a beat. I love
that. Okay, so the terrible timestamp from Joe Henry's side.
BD, go ahead.
Yeah, please go off, King. Go
off, King.
Yeah, I don't know. So like you said, Turtle Boy was just, first of all, I will say Turtle Boy hates fun. Like anytime anything fun is happening on Twitter or happening on the show, he's going to shit on it. He's talked about how, having the Miniverse is like stupid and Kirk should just talk politics. And he made the point like, oh yeah, I would listen to a Steve Robinson show like on the RSS feed. That's exactly how it shouldn't happen if Turtle Boy is going to be your audience. Like, and him and Jerry even get into talking about how they were surprised that Steve took the job with Kirk in the first place because he had like a bright political kind of talk show career going. It is surprising, but I think it speaks to Steve. Like, he didn't want to do that. Like I said, it's not fun just doing that every day. And he could have done it. He could do it. He can do that like Kirk can talk sports. Like, he can just snap into it at any time.
And I think it's different. I think Steve Steve gets off on it. But anyway,
I think in the sports analogy, it's a little different.
Sorry.
But he has the ability to, but I think he realized like that's really just not a fun career. He knew what to a degree he knew what he was getting into when he joined Kirk's show as far as like what the content would be. And then the other part I didn't like about Turtle Boys on Jerry's show today or whenever it was a couple days ago was he basically made the question of like how long is Barstool going to keep paying these three guys salary when there's no show? And I just thought even raising that question where earlier in the podcast he had been like, oh, me and Kirk are like family, you know, and like I guess someone has the right to raise that question, but I don't think it should be coming from someone like Turtle Boy who Kirk kind of shouts out and supports and definitely, you know, gives credit to on stuff. It didn't sit with me right. Like obviously Barstool, they shouldn't handle it like EEI did. They shouldn't, you know, look at it as a money loss profit situation. Like this guy's going through real mental health struggles. Like, and to kind of paint it in that light was pretty, I don't know. It just didn't sit with me well.
Yeah, especially the first week of this. Like it just doesn't.
Yeah, it's been 3 days. Like I think it was on Thursday's show, so it's been 3 or 4 days. Like, why are you raising that question? Other than to like, there's kind of like a little veiled thing in there for me. And then also him saying if he was part of the show, he could jump in and it wouldn't miss a beat while Kirk is gone is like, I don't know if it's delusional.
I think I almost took that as a joke because it was.
Yeah,
really
I think he was trolling a little
wrong.
bit, but I think he also kind of believes himself. Yeah. And then he's talking to like, oh, I would never work for Barstool. I'll never have a boss. Like, you know, he's some kind of fucking media titan. I don't know. I just watch yourself. Watch yourself. You know, watch yourself. Yeah.
Wow.
I have no use for Turtle Boy.
You're about to get.
He hates fun. Every reason
he's about to get watermarked.
Yeah. For every reason I like the show, like all the reasons I love the show, like parody songs, you know, a little bit of infighting. He hates for. So I'm the polar opposite of him.
Infighting.
Yeah, I do.
Well, this is gonna be difficult for you, VD. It's gonna be difficult for Ziggy too, because Ziggy obviously agrees with Turtle Boy today, so that's got to be tough.
That was
also too. I mean, Steve does bring up a lot of Turtle Boy stories in the show. So like the piece of the Kirk Minahan show that some of us get tired of, the cancel culture stuff that comes up every day. That's the stuff that Turtle Boy wants to talk about all the time.
I can't imagine having to listen to that show every day.
Kirk making the joke of him fucking investigating like 40 or fucking 20-year-old stealing mattresses.
Yeah,
is the funniest joke I've ever fucking heard, dude.
That's the majority. He does break some
he's
stories for the local area, but yeah, it's a majority.
He's a fucking hardo, dude. Like I was hammered on the rundown with that dude. He didn't crack a smile fucking once, bro.
And he had zero fun with us.
He had zero fun, dude. That was zero fun. I was hammered. I was drunk as hell on that episode. Like,
was that your birthday one? Where I remember
canceled the show. Like, he did get off that show though. He was like, tell Steve Robinson the show is on. The show was on.
The show was on.
Yeah.
BD, you said that's. I disagree that Steve doesn't want long term to go back into the political realm, because all he does is tweet political stuff that's like has no relevancy to the KMS world.
I think I agree with you. I think it's just like an intellectual kind of passion for him.
His passion is entrepreneurship. Like he wants to build something that's his with Kirk, and that will hold him here no matter what. Money is fine right now. Like Kirk always says, he's the highest paid producer in Boston, and that's 100% true.
Yeah.
And what Turtle Boy said, you think Barstool gives one fuck about paying Kirk during this? They will give him every dime they have to, because they have it, and because he's Kirk fucking Minahan.
Dude. And because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah. Right.
What will Barstool do during this? They're going to fucking support the shit out of him.
And like, I think it's
what EEI did. Like, what? Right. That's not even a question.
And to Barstool's credit, even I think they would support like a lesser known employee, like just the same way if it was mental health stuff. Dude. Like I think they actually
30 seconds they make Mike's salary. Mike's salary. They're fine. Don't worry about that.
Well, yeah, and they hold on to these people that have, you know, all these other different issues. That have created issues that probably aren't bringing any money for the company. And you know, we talk about whatever the live shows bring in for money, but Kirk certainly has a ton of value to Barstool. He's literally one of the only people that makes, you know, Stoolies think of whatever they thought Barstool was back in the day too. So
Yeah.
he's a good connection point for a lot of people, and he ruins a lot of other people's podcasts. Like when you talk to people, that's the first thing they say is, when you listen to the Kirk Minahan show, it's hard to listen to other podcasts, especially the Barstool ones too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
and that's not because
really
he's like, it's not necessarily because he's like attacking them or like exposing them. It's just the
Right.
nature of how good his show is.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Whole different type of show.
All right. So after show, we got to get into, Kirk is away. Last time he's gone away, we had Mincel Intel giving us the brackets and causing some issues. So that was good to listen to.
Yo, how about blank retweeting it today? I don't want to say her name.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to say her name on the new.
Good day for Munchkin.
That is a good day for Munchkin. So we had the brackets then. We have some brackets now. The brackets then caused some drama and some issues. We got some drama and some issues going on earlier this week with Carano and John, which is always nice that Carano wants to do a TED Talk on Twitter and then also include Kirk in that TED Talk, as Kirk is contemplating suicide. So it's a solid move by Carano.
On whose YouTube channel?
On this one? Yes, on this YouTube.
Oh, I didn't know Carano came on this YouTube.
Yeah, it's weird. So bad day, Carano. I'm still waiting for that apology, but I don't think that'll ever come. Ziggy, what's your issue with DEC? I saw that popping off today. Do you hate DEC now? Is that what's going on?
Leading the witness. No, I definitely do not.
Two-face Ziggy. Go ahead.
I don't hate anyone. I don't hate anyone. I'm trying to think of if there's any examples of someone I could throw out just to say I do, but no, I don't hate DC. I think he's definitely a polarizing figure in the world, which is funny because he's not, like, obviously he's a well-known fan, but his podcast is on its own feed. Like he's not technically part of the team, but a lot of times people, I think
yes.
Well, his RSS feed is technically separate from KMS. So that's my point.
Yes.
But I don't know. It's low-hanging fruit to go after him. So yeah, I go after him. I go after a lot of people.
Yes,
but at the same time, yes, I am nice to people in the DMs because that's like also how I feel. So I think it's possible to have two feelings. Like you can dislike certain things of someone, and then you can like certain aspects too. So I don't know. I try to be honest. Yeah, I don't know. I was a little surprised with that tweet this morning. I was happy to see it had grand total of 0 likes. So I don't know if that was fans like trying to not start anything.
Yeah. Usually when he shits on me, it has like 700 likes. I'm like,
well, yeah, because a lot of people like that.
The fact that I care what he said. It's the fact that all those people agree.
and just to clarify, like my video last night, which I still think is hilarious. Like it had nothing to do with DC. I was making fun of Menners, which is why I tagged DC. I wouldn't tag someone in it that I'm trying to although I did tag Menners in it. So I guess scratch what I just said.
Backpedal right there.
I've gone back and forth in it in regards to DC's response to that tweet, Ziggy. Like I still can't get a read on whether he actually thought like it was aimed at him or whether he's just that good of a victim troll. Like I keep going back and forth because I think I've given him credit on this show before for being a very high level troll, and once I do that to someone in my head, it's hard for me to decipher like what's real and what they're doing just to kind of shape the narrative. So I don't know. I got my eyes on I've had my eyes on the little Cullinane DEC little spat.
Yeah, that seems harmless.
I know. Those are my favorite ones.
Right.
Yeah, that is the best one. I will say, VD, I don't think there's any master troll going on with DEC when he's using Twitter to spy on people at the Friday Mike and the Minifans and just posting their photos randomly on Twitter. I don't think there's a mastermind at work.
I might call them out on that at least.
I don't agree with that.
So, but I can't see it anymore because I got blocked. Somehow Ziggy pissed him off, and now I'm blocked.
Well, it's
seeing DC's content.
You have to be a real fan. You have to be a real
fan. If I was more prominent, if I was an A-lister, maybe if I was a real fan, I should listen to the show. Maybe I wouldn't get blocked.
I just want to get this out. So, because I wanted to say it earlier, but I forgot.
Backpedal to the backpedal to the backpedal.
No. Yeah, but it has a deeper point. So I think everyone this week who went on a recap show or did a podcast did a great job of giving their perspective on mental illness and. That goes for everyone, the OGs and the Minifan show, and I'm forgetting people. But DC is like very
Intel.
Yes, thank you. I knew I was forgetting someone. Who could forget? DC is he's very open on his podcast, and I think he took my tweet as like taking advantage of that or like making fun of them, which absolutely was not. So that's where I understand where I guess he's coming from. But yeah, I mean, I beep. Yeah, I guess we'll finish it with that.
Yeah, well, that is the beauty and the danger of Twitter is things just get taken out of context and it's hard to get tone across sometimes. So
can I just?
Yeah, I was totally kidding, Chrono.
Well, can I just say? So I don't have an issue with like the bickering fights back and forth, but it blows out of proportion when you do the quote tweet. If you can just keep it to one thread, because I don't know if anyone saw, but Matt from Providence and Blind Prison Mike had like a mini skirmish today, but it was all in one. It was all in one thread. It was very clean. It was very easy to read.
Clean. It was like 7 tweets.
That's the way to do it.
7 nice tweets.
Just ask you guys like
don't quote tweet.
Yeah, thank you for the PSA. Is
that handled that very well. That was a
do not quote tweet because Menners does this all the time. He takes every single tweet and quote tweets it. And it's just constant over and over again. He's just, he's just putting this out to his followers all the time. It's like I don't think we all need to see this all the time. You're calling.
I'll bring it up in our next production meeting.
Please let him know. He's got 6 weeks to figure this out. But the constant
Andrew in the afternoon starts next week.
it's gonna happen.
Andrew in the afternoons. That's a good name.
I'm
Actually. Tweet that yet? Because I've been dying.
You did.
All right, good.
I think it was in a thread though, so it
was in a thread. So who knows? You got to quote tweet that. Yeah. I am worried. I am worried about what's going to happen. I mean, already this week, DEC and Carano have already given us their TED Talks on how to be a fan. So this is going to be difficult. We're already in week 1, and this has happened. Those two heavy hitters.
I will say to be positive, like a lot. So the thank you Kirk hashtag was nice to see on Monday.
Nice. Yep.
Gigs Design is awesome.
Yeah,
man.
Gigs Design, that's awesome. The fundraising walk, like that's awesome. Fans wanting to do the YouTube shows. I think there's positives that I think we need to focus on.
And I think it's been the best week on the YouTube channel maybe ever. Like that OG show on, I think it was Monday.
So funny.
I've watched it like 4 times. Like Steve from Providence is such an absolute savage. Like, and just that the chemistry on that show is great. And just getting their perspective on Sacco is like, a view into that group, and it's hilarious. Everybody definitely go watch that.
Absolutely. Adding Tim from Canton in there was awesome, and R.A. Minahan's the man too. Like,
yeah, they do a great job.
I know there's a Menzel OG war, but I couldn't like the OGs are the best, dude. Some of the OGs are funny.
Yeah, it's only like a certain few that get heard about something.
To it. Yeah, it's it's actually more Menzels actually care.
Yeah, that might be true. I'm feeling like I feel bad because I did notice on Twitter too. There's people that are also saying that they're going through some stuff now too, and this kind of has a butterfly effect when Kirk is going through something and his show isn't out there every day. You see fans mention like they're going through some tough times too.
Affects people if he's not around every day for them.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think Kirk takes that very seriously.
It affects me, like, and I have never had mental issue at all.
Yeah.
It's like no Kirk. Just like
you have none diagnosed. You got some mental problems. No, but the whole time I was watching the OG show, I was just thinking like, if we could have a fucking camera crew following around Steve from Providence from like Friday to Saturday, they would have had on camera. So like when the show grows, Kirk always asks like, why do we want the show to grow? It's like for reasons like that. Like I want to be able just to have a camera crew like following those guys around. Yep. I want a camera crew with Sleepy Drew like following him for the rest of his Friday evening. Like,
not so much. You didn't miss much there.
He stayed at my house. Believe me, you don't want that camera, bro.
Okay. I'll take your word for it.
On YouTube, I'll tell you that.
I will say Sleepy Drew making the casino ride with Steve from Providence would have been pretty funny. Having those guys up doing
he would have murdered him in Maine and he would be dead. Steve would have murdered him that night. He was telling people he would suck their dick, dude. Like he would have murdered them.
All right, to recap, I think so. We figured that out. I think again, Ziggy hates DEC, and that's how we got here. And hopefully, he make sure it's funny when he tweets about these things.
Expect a DM soon, DEC.
There you go, perfect. I think we did a show, guys.
I got one more before we go.
I could keep going.
I got one more before we go. I'm currently. This is for all the cement heads out there. I'm currently in negotiations with @GopherGeary on Twitter. I'm trying to get a YouTube show together with him. You know, he drives a tough bargain. I've called in Joe Henney to help negotiate.
Perfect.
We're making some progress, but you know, if you want to send your words of encouragement to @GoForGeary, I would. We're gonna do a show. We just, you know, he's a little bit afraid right now, but he's gonna get over that fear, and we're gonna pull it together.
I'm a P1 D1 cement head. I love Go for Gary. I love the 3 exclamation points and then the insult right after it with the exclamation points.
Yep.
I know he's watching right now. I need Go for Gary.
Yeah.
Defund the YouTube, Nimrod New Tower. We're kicking around some names, but you know, just keep that in your mind.
It's a great drinking game, regardless. If he can just keep doing that every time he does it, just take a shot.
I remember one time he just DM me. He's like, if people would just stop saying stuff back, I would stop.
Yep. No, and here's Joe Henney tweeting at me right now.
Visionless Dave.
Yep.
All right, Ziggy. Anything else?
Well, one thing we didn't discuss. Feel free to shoot it away. But were you surprised at all with the reaction I would say the lack of reaction from Barstool this week? Other than retweets, I don't think anyone sent out like a personalized tweet. Even the thank you Kirk hashtag. Like, it's. I mean, that's coming from a place of like thanking Kirk for what he's done, but to a Barstool follower who gets a retweet from Big Cat, they don't know what that's in reference to. So I was just a little surprised no one, unless I missed it, had a personalized tweet about it.
I didn't see a personalized tweet. They did talk about it on the rundown. Brandon Walker and Big Cat mentioned it.
Okay.
Very briefly they did, and it wasn't as big of a deal as it was last time. So I don't know if if that's coming from the last time they had this with Kirk, and maybe I don't know if they felt like they went overboard the last time. I have no idea, but it is odd how quiet it is.
Radio talked about it. I mean, that first thing I did was actually message Deke Zucker. I was like, "Yo, how much Kirk talk was there today?" He's like, "So this was at probably 1 or 2 o'clock," and he was like, "Breakfast talked about it, and then the show after every show up until."
Okay, so it is going on the radio.
I get where you were coming from, though, Siggy. It wasn't like. And over the top is not the right way to describe it, but it wasn't as forward facing as maybe last time. And part of me thinks that, and re-listening to the old episode from when Kirk came back last time, is like he definitely emphasized like, oh, this doesn't need to be this whole thing kind of. I think it spoke for itself, where like people know what's going on, but I don't think he wanted it to be like too much of a dick sucking fest for him. I think he wanted to just kind of get the point across, like he did in his tweets, of just talk about it, and it's just what you got to do. So I don't know. That's where my mind went. I obviously have no idea if that's accurate or not, but.
I mean, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Like, I'm not trying to say they don't care. It's just I was a little.
Yeah, I noticed it too. I also noticed it.
About things. Don't do that.
I have no idea.
I said you don't have to use a disclaimer every time you say something about Kirk.
Sorry, I listened to too much Blind Mike.
People immediately do that. I don't like it. It's just like, yo, if that's how you feel about Kirk, he's going to shit on all of us, dude. That's how you feel.
No, it wasn't. I wasn't even. Yeah. Okay.
No, not you.
Okay.
And lately,
the other thing I just remembered on Kirk's tweet, I like looking at the replies. And I hate saying this, but the one that had the most likes was like a stoolie saying something, I don't know, something negative, like this is what happens when you go after people. I would have loved to see someone like Big Cat quote tweeting that and being like, "What? You're an idiot. I disavow."
Right.
He's done that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I saw him attack a troll once, and it was awesome.
But this is like a high profile. It's one of the top tweets if you look at Kirk's, and I don't know. So that kind of bothers him. But then the second most liked tweet was Stephen Providence's. So
I think there was that way too on the subreddit as well, the Barstool subreddit.
I did see a lot of upvotes.
There's a lot of that, but I will say that there's when Kirk was going after Ellie Schnitt and Kate. There was a lot of positive stuff about Kirk too on there. So I don't know. It seems like Kirk's doing exactly what he wants to do. Half of the Stoolies hate him, half the Stoolies love him.
I just got a message. Mima died.
Oh shit!
Wow,
dude. R.I.P. Mima.
For real?
Yeah, just got a text.
Damn.
Dead.
10:16 p.m. Maybe that's where Sheldon was going. Maybe he had to.
R.I.P.
Yeah, R.I.P. That's
it's either not a funny joke or it's serious, and we're not sure how to react.
Yeah.
kind of stuck here.
Ziggy, your takes on Mima.
You told me to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm gonna no sell your joke if I don't find it funny.
When Ziggy drops the wow, I know it's a good one. That's perfect.
Wow.
All right. That's a podcast. That's a show. Thank you, guys.
Love you guys.
Thank you. Love you, Kirk. Thank you.
Love you.
Love you.
Kirk was right. 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 Kirk, we love you, Kirk.
All right, boys and girls, everyone drive home safe, all right?
Thank you, Kirk.